As always, our telecast tonight on Fox Sports Ohio of Reds baseball and every night, presented in beautiful high-definition television, courtesy of our friends from H.H. Gregg. Perfect weather night. What about the rest of the evening, Mr. Tim Hedrick?
Will we see the Cuban Missile tonight? Aroldis Chapman up. Will he pitch in this warm air, 87 degrees? Humidity is not terrible. Get down to the ballpark. 9 o'clock, 83. The final out, about 79 degrees. No rain at all. Suicide squeeze.
Very, very nice, Tim. That's good stuff. All right, Mr. Welsh, the rotation, the way it stacks up, looking ahead over the next 5 games, including the 3 in St. Louis.
Well, you got tomorrow and Johnny Cueto and Bronson Arroyo. Those 2 guys have been pitching very, very well. Travis Woods had a couple of outings where he's had a step back, mainly because his control hasn't been there. I expect him to be right back at it. The last 2 guys on the rotation right here with Homer Bailey and Aaron Harang, you hope that they're going to be able to come up and get back to the standards that they're used to. Homer Bailey did not look good his last 2 times out. In fact, last night, after he began to get it going, it looked like he lost concentration. I think he's got enough arm out there to be a better pitcher than what he's showing. Aaron Harango is a guy that we're going to find out tonight whether he, after 61 days away from the major leagues, is ready for Major League Baseball again. This is the strong suit that Dusty Baker has. Bill Bray, Aroldis Chapman, and Arthur Rose give him 3 left-handers for the first time this year. Sam LaCour's your long man. Nick Masson and Logan Ondrusek have been throwing the ball never better than they are right now. And, of course, Francisco Cordero looks like he's found his groove, correcting that one minor adjustment in his delivery, getting his weight off his heel onto his front foot. That has made a big difference for him.
When we come back, the starting lineups in the play-by-play. Reds roll into a win last night, looking to keep it going here in Game 2. Harang in a Reds uniform.
Well, you know, that's exactly right. It was June 30th when he last towed the mound. His rehab starts, he's had a good fastball, but he's been kind of rolling his breaking ball up there. His numbers were not good at rehab. Don't mistake that at all. But he's got to be able to get his breaking ball and keep that ball down. He's been a fly ball pitcher his whole career. That will not change. Hopefully those fly balls will stay in the ballpark.
So Harang has given up 15 home runs in 103rd innings in the league, batting .294 against him. He's hoping to be a big part of this Reds team over the final month. Ricky Weeks digging in and looks at ball 1 low, and his game is underway. Weeks at .271, 24 home runs, 74 runs batted in. You may remember that final start that Aaron Harang had before he came down with a bad back when the team went to New York. Travis Wood took his spot in the rotation. But on the 30th against Philadelphia here, went 6 1/3 innings, allowed 3 runs. He was locked up that day against Roy Halladay, and the Reds won it in the bottom of the 9th inning. There's a ground ball to short, and Weeks thrown out on a nice play by Giannis, 1 out. The Cincinnati Bell starting lineup for the Brewers. Corey Hart coming up, Brian Braun backs third. Prince Fielder, the cleanup hitter, has done major damage here. Casey McGee at third. Chris Dickerson, a former Red, in center. And the latter third of Jonathan Lucroy catching. Craig Counsell at short. Giovanni Gallardo on the mound. Gallardo is their ace. Here's Corey Hart. Line into center field, a base hit. Take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford. With Jay Bruce scratches before game time, Heisey goes from left to right. Johnny Gomes will start in left with Stubbs in center. Again, Roland, Giannis, Valeka, Votto along the infield. Hannigan and Harang the batter. Hart has 6 steals and 9 attempts, and here comes Ryan Braun. For the first 5 batters in this Milwaukee lineup, each of the 5 with gaudy offensive numbers. And there's ball 1 to Braun.
Well, they're a real good fastball hitting team, Tom, especially the first 5 that you mentioned right there. And we know that about Chris Dickerson, too. So you can take it down to 6. You've got to be able to get more than just your fastball over against this team. That's why it's important early on for Aaron Harang, yes, to establish his fastball, but be able to get that breaking ball in there enough so that the hitters will know that he's got a chance of going to it. If he goes 2-0 and they know a heater's coming, they're going to come out of their shoes.
Braun to 19 home runs and 80 runs driven in. With his next home run, The Milwaukee Brewers will have 5 players that have hit 20 or more homers. Fielder, Weeks, Hart, and McGee already there. Well, look at the difference between the home and the road numbers this year for Ryan Braun.
He's one guy that has really complained about the home games during the day at Miller Park. He says it's almost impossible to see the way the glare comes in through the windows. That may have hurt that home average a little bit.
Hart at first, 1 out, just underway, and now Harang ahead at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Of course, Aaron Harang, since coming over in the deal from the Oakland Athletics, Chris, has by and large, since 2003, pitched on some mediocre, if not less than mediocre, Reds teams. It would be nice to see him contribute to a team that has a chance to clinch a division championship.
I mean, put yourself in Aaron Harang's place. How would you like to miss the boat here as it's on its way to the playoff station?
We're still a full month plus left to go in this season, so there are guarantees that the Reds are going to win the division, but you certainly have to like very much where you are.
But we never saw Aaron Harang do that hardly at all here in the first half of the year before he went on the DL, coming inside to right-handers or left-handers for that matter. One of the constant gripes you heard about Aaron was that he was kind of passive out there and he would just continue to pitch to the outer part of the plate. That one nearly clipped the elbow of Ryan Braun. A little wake-up call there.
2-2 now to Braun, and it's ball 3.
Has not thrown a breaking ball yet to Ryan.
Prince Fielder waits in the on-deck circle, just underway here at Great American Ballpark. A 1-out single by Corey Hart, and we'll see if he's running on this 3-2 pitch with 1 out to Braun. He is going, and a liner, short hop. They don't get the out at second. They do get the out at first.
What a nice play, though, by the second baseman, Chris Valaika. This ball was absolutely a sizzler. I mean, he has to one-hand this ball. Watch the grab he makes to his glove side and just kind of scoops and fires immediately. Everything happened so quickly that Paul Giannis wasn't able to get there in time. Really what happened was that it looked like that Valaika was going to be the coverage guy on the stolen base, or at least on a possible strike him out, throw him out. That's why he was moving towards the bag. Had he not been over there covering, that ball would have gone into the gap. And as hard as it was hit, who knows who would have been able to flag it down.
Now Fielder with a runner at second and 2 outs. The shift put on slightly by the Reds on the infield defense. Giannis playing about 2 steps to the third base side of the second base bag. And Roland moved over a couple of paces off his normal third base position. Jam shot, pop up, trouble here, and it'll fall in for a hit and an RBI. So hitting against that shift, if Giannis plays where he normally plays, he easily flags that ball down. It's 1-0 Milwaukee.
Yeah, how many times, though, do you see Prince Fielder do this? It's a great pitch by Harang, and he just gets a bad result. He comes right in there with a fastball and gets on a trademark, and the ball just falls into no man's land.
So now the Milwaukee first inning continues for Casey McGee, a .286 batter, a team high 86 runs batted in. He's clubbed 20 home runs. Strike 1. Into right center field, another base hit. Stopping at second is Fielder. That's 3 hits in the inning through the first 5 batters.
Well, also 3 hard hit balls. Not all the hits so far have been hard hit, but that's not a bad stroke by Casey McGee. He's a good high ball hitter. You can see he's kind of a short guy, very strong, short arms, and those guys like the ball up above the thighs. You've got to really concentrate on keeping the ball down on him.
Now Chris Dickerson, the former Red, traded for Jim Edmonds 3.5 weeks ago. And Dickerson has swung the bat well for the Brewers since they put him on the big league club. He's played in 15 games. He has 10 hits and 34 at bats and 5 runs batted in, all of them in his last 8 games. Originally a 16th round draft choice in 03 by the Reds out of the University of Nevada, Reno. 1-1. Dickerson came to the big leagues for the first time in 08. Played regularly over the final month plus of the year, hit .304. And in 31 games knocked in 15 runs and had 17 extra base hits. In 09 he started the year as a regular, but got off to a terrible start and only wound up playing in 97 games, primarily due to 3 or 4 different injuries. And that's one of the things, Chris, that really slowed down him becoming a regular player, or the chance to become a regular player. Injuries seemingly every year, and more than one.
It's funny how some guys are plagued by that, others don't have that bug at all. And it's weird. It could be a wrist injury, it could be hit by pitch, pulled hamstring. It really doesn't matter. Just some guys seem to be snake bit.
One and two now on Dickerson. 2 on, 2 out, 1 in. And Orang taking a lot of time out there on the mound. In fact, too much for Dickerson's liking. Fielder the runner at second. McGee on at first. 2 outs, 1-2 pitch. And Dickerson does not chase a breaking ball this time. That'll even a count.
Now the go get him pitch right here on a 2-2 count. Always want to get a decision on a 2-2 count if possible, especially with 2 outs, because 3-2 the runners get released. Looks like they've been trying to pepper off speed pitches in there to Dickerson, knowing he's a pretty good fastball hitter.
The 2-2 on the way. Dribbled foul, will do it again.
Another breaking ball.
Strike 3 called. Good fastball in the inside corner. Dickerson didn't like it. 1 run, 3 hits, 2 men left. Reds come to bat for the first time, trailing 1-0. And for mustache and beard, keep your edge. And by Skyline Chili, whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time. Dusty Baker, Cincinnati Bell's starting lineup. Bruce Dudds, Chris Valaika, Joey Votto at the top. Scott Rowland, the cleanup hitter, with Johnny Gomes in left, Chris Heisey in right. A ladder third of Ryan Hannigan, Paul Giannis, Aaron Orang against 11-game winner and an all-star, although he was hurt and was unable to pitch in the all-star game, Giovanni Gallardo.
He's the best the Brewers have to offer. There is no question about that. A good record so far on the year. 11 wins against only 6 losses. He's got a real good curveball, and the Reds will see a lot of that tonight.
Well, he did not impress the Reds hitters the last time they saw him. He lasted 2 2/3 innings, gave up 10 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned. That was back on July the 27th. The Reds lit him up. But that has not been the norm in the very young career of this talented 24-year-old. 1-1 to Stubbs. Is a fastball into the knees. 2 balls and a strike. Drew at 240, 15 home runs, 59 runs batted in. And you saw those numbers for Stubbs. Milwaukee has really dominated Drew Stubbs. Breaking ball away. And he takes a leadoff walk. Good at bat by Stubbs to begin the game in the bottom of the first inning. Chris, Milwaukee on defense, presented by Ford.
Chris Dickerson takes over in center field. There's a kind of a trio of guys playing out there. McGee, Counsell, Ricky Weeks will be across the infield along with Prince Fielder, and behind the plate tonight, Jonathan Lucroy catching the right-hander Gallardo. Nice to see your old buddy Craig Counsell in the ball game.
My old buddy indeed. Gamer.
Yes, he is.
Gamer.
Golden Domer.
Indeed. All right, now Drew Stubbs really kicked things into gear from the stolen base perspective over the weekend against Chicago. He had 4 of them. And Chris, when he gets on base, he's been virtually impossible to throw out. 24 out of 27. Baleka has played so well, playing in place of the injured Brandon Phillips, with all the things going on since he took over in the starting lineup. I mean, the first game of the Cubs series is when you had Jay Bruce hit 3 home runs. Bronson Arroyo was lights out on the mound in the next game, and the Reds rallied late to win. Sunday they rallied late again. There's Baleka with yet another hit. And of course the thrilling 10th inning win last night. Chris, it has overshadowed Baleka, who now has 9 hits in his first 21 at bats.
Well, the guy can hit. I mean, a couple of years ago, he was one of the brightest prospects the Reds had in their minor leagues. And then he had an injury last year, really took a step back from a production standpoint. And a lot of people kind of marked him off the top prospect list. But he works hard, and boy, you see that very short stroke he has. I mean, he gets to the ball in a hurry. He can play around the infield, number of different positions.
Tell you, love the way, like you said, man, this guy can hit.
Great exposure for him up here, too.
Now Joey Votto with 2-1 and nobody out. Votto at 325. Second best in the National League to Carlos Gonzalez. And it's ripped by Fielder down the line. Stubbs will score. Baleka is being waved around. He will score. Votto a 2-run double, and the Reds are in front. Six runs batted in for Joey Votto.
That ball nearly undresses Prince Fielder at first base. A little sinking fastball from Gallardo, looking for a ground ball, but not a sizzler like that. Holy tamale, that ball nearly took his head off. All the way down into the corner. A couple of speedsters on the bases will come around, and 2-1. With that double by Joey Votto.
Votto entered play 2 behind Albert Pujols in the RBI race among all National Leaguers, and those 2 RBIs put him 1 in front.
Going to hurt somebody out there.
And rolling a rocket to Fielder. They try and double up Votto. That won't happen. Rolling in his career 6 of 8 against Gallardo, and nearly at a 7th hit. Gallardo not fooling anybody.
Now, first breaking ball that he has thrown for a strike. He's looking up at the big board here at the ballpark to say, all right, what am I doing wrong here? Hoping that he sees a replay of where that pitch was and why they're teeing off on him. You know, he pitched a good game against the Reds early in the year. 6 innings of 1-run baseball, and then he got whacked his last time. 2 innings of 6-run ball time. You already mentioned that. That was by far his worst outing of the year. He probably came out with a notion to try to do a little payback, but hasn't worked so far.
Votto and Gomes ranked 3rd and 4th in the National League batting with runners in scoring position. Votto's already done damage, and Gomes looking to do the same. Going with us, Johnny, not originally in the starting lineup tonight. Jay Bruce was in right. Chris Heisey was starting in left. Then Jay had some soreness on his right side and was scratched about 15 minutes before first pitch. Check swing on a pitch in the dirt. He didn't go around. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, the Reds and Brewers are playing here in a big league ball game, but in Arizona, Tom, I'm bringing you an update on what they're doing down in the Arizona League Championships. The Arizona Reds are playing the Arizona Brewers for the championship of the Arizona League tonight. So we wish Tom Browning and Julio Garcia and the whole gang down there lots of luck.
Indeed.
Bring home the iron.
Line hard into right, and it's caught by Corey Hart. Man, oh man, oh man. One rocket after another off Reds bats in this inning. Gallardo's living right.
Well, that's a good swing by Johnny Gomes. I mean, you talk about waiting back and driving it. Corey Hart comes up with a big play. Just signed him to a 3-year deal. Might be one of the happiest guys in Bowling Green. Kind of coin they dropped on him.
Chris Heisey, the batter, 7 home runs, 14 runs driven in. He has Votto at second with 2 outs, and there's strike 1 from Gallardo. To Heisey, and it misses inside, even a count. Reds lead 2-1. Milwaukee getting a run scoring single by Prince Fielder with 2 outs in the first. In the bottom of the inning, Stubbs a walk, Baleka a hit, Votto a 2-run double. Breaking ball that Heisey thought about, but was able to hold back. 2 balls and a strike. Final game of this series and this homestand tomorrow. Johnny Cueto guns for win number 13 against left-hander Chris Narveson. And we'll have it for you at 7:10. First pitch. Reds Live gets underway at 6:30. 2-1 on Heisey. 2-2.
Gallardo, one of those pitchers that really, when you talk about his breaking ball, you have to break it down into 2 separate kind of pitches. He throws a slider, that'll be about 85, 86 miles an hour, and then he'll also throw a curveball at anywhere from 78 to about 80 miles an hour. Both of them are plus pitches.
Struck him out, not alone the inning. But the Reds scored twice. 2 hits. Votto now the league leader in runs batted in. Omar Infante of the Atlanta Braves, and how right now he does not have enough plate appearances to qualify for the National League batting title race. But with Infante now playing every day after the season-ending injury to Chipper Jones, it'll be about another 2 weeks before all of a sudden out of nowhere his name will pop up as the league leader. He's batting .345. Of course, when you don't have a ton of plate appearances this late in the year, that's in the air to right field. It'll back up Heisey for the first out as Lucroy is taken care of. You know, the upside and the downside, depending on your perspective, is when you don't have a ton of plate appearances, your average can go up by getting a few hits quite a bit, and it can come down rapidly, even though it's this late in the year. If you chalk up a 2 for 28 for guys that have been playing every single day, that have enough plate appearances to quadruple the minimum. Well, for those guys, you could go on a 2 for 30, and your batting average might not drop 10, 12 points this time of the year. Shortstop Craig Counsell at 246. Counsell played regularly last year, not much playing time this year, as he did not go around 2-0. You may remember he became their everyday second baseman last season after Ricky Weeks was injured very early, and Weeks never came back. But Weeks and Escobar have played a lot of baseball at second and short this year.
Weeks had a wrist injury, kind of quite a bit like the wrist injury that Jay Bruce had. And, sometimes it takes a lot longer than you think for those kind of injuries to become normal again. And you're a little more than a year away from Jay Bruce. I'm wondering if that maybe has some kind of coincidence with his resurgence. To get a year plus away from his wrist injury, all of a sudden he starts feeling strong, and he's never complained about pain in it. But I got to think that, even a young man at 22 years old, when you break your wrist, he still takes a while to come back.
3-2 to Counsell.
I tell you, I really miss Craig Counsell's old corkscrew setup at the plate, where he holds that bat high. Not anywhere near as extreme as he used to be. Tried to go there that time, but couldn't quite get there.
Pulled foul. Of course, Counsell made that change 2 years ago. He was getting older. And, you get a little older, that bat speed begins to slow down a bit. And he felt like he needed to get that bat in a better position because it was taking a little too long to get it back down where it was after many, many years holding it that high. He did nearly a complete overhaul in that batting stance.
There's a whole lot of Little League coaches glad he adopted this more conventional stance. Hard habit to break of an 8-year-old when you see Craig Counsell bat and they show up in the field like that.
He's really making Aaron Harang work here. A 7-pitch at bat so far for Counsell. Young man who grew up in Milwaukee. His father worked for the Brewers for many, many years. That one line caught by Malecki. Couple of hard hit balls in this inning, but loud outs. Reds fans, a party this season is out in the Kroger bleachers, located under the main scoreboard in left field. The place to enjoy all the action. Tickets start at just $7, and you can get additional savings by planning a group outing of 25 or more. Call 381-REDS or go to reds.com. Gallardo, no easy out. He's down a strike. 12 hits and 50 at bats, 4 home runs for Gallardo this year.
In fact, I think he hit a home run in that game in which the Reds drubbed him up so badly, and the only bright spot of the day for him was the dinger that he did go deep on. Hit a couple of home runs last year, 4 this year. Overall in his career, a .210 hitter. An 0-2 pitch.
And a base hit in the left field.
You can look it up right now. Get your book out. Look up hanging slider. You'll have a picture of that one.
A 1-on, 2-out. Reds in front 2-1. We're in the second inning, and back to the leadoff man, Ricky Weeks. He bounced out to Giannis, leading off the game. Ball one in. So 9 batters for Aaron Harang. He's allowed a run on 4 base hits. He struck out 1, has not walked a batter tonight. His first game back since the final game in June. Whoa. Holy Moses. That ball scalded by Weeks into left field, and now a 2-out threat.
His wrist feeling a whole lot better. Well, I mentioned early on, these guys are a real good offensive team. They get on base a lot, but they're exceptionally good at hitting the fastball. That's why it's important for Harang to get that breaking ball working for him. And that rolling slider up there is what Gallardo hit for a base hit. You got to be able to finish that pitch.
This guy right here hit a rocket into center field and scored a run in the first inning. Corey Hart. Strike 1.
That's still kind of a roller of a slider. If you're looking fastball on the first pitch, you're going to take that. But that's not the real good downward break that we've seen Aaron Harang throw that slider with when he's been at his best.
Reds leading by a run, but Milwaukee knocking on the door with back-to-back 2-out singles from the pitcher Gallardo and then Ricky Weeks. It's 1-1 on Corey Hart, and here it comes. That's a better breaking ball there.
Well, Homer Bailey had him last night just fishing at this pitch, and he went in a row, 3 breaking balls in a row to Corey Hart and struck him out on almost the same swing. So he swings like that on it, there's no reason to change, right?
Try the breaking ball one more time, and it's too low for Hart to chase it. All right, what do you do now? You triple up on that breaking ball?
Why not?
That they did, and that's all for Hart. 2 strikeouts in the game for Harang. The Brewers strand affair, and the Reds still lead by a run.
Oh, just not quite out there to get it. He did finish the last couple that he threw to Corey Hart, ended up with a strikeout at the end of the inning. Got to get that breaking ball working.
Well, he threw 2 or 3 of the better ones he's thrown all night long in that at bat to Hart, so maybe he finally has the feel for that pitch. You've been down that road before. You didn't have it early, and then you find it, right?
Every pitcher has. I mean, the key to that, you know, you go out there and they say if you don't have your good stuff, meaning you don't have one breaking ball working, you stay stubborn with it. You keep using it until it comes around. If you stick it in your pocket and forget about it, you're going to be taking an early shower.
Ryan Hannigan against Gallardo to begin the bottom of the second inning. The Reds have a 2-1 lead. A 2-run double by Joey Votto in the Reds' first inning, after the Brewers got a run-scoring single by Prince Fielder in the top of the first.
Yeah, same thing goes for Yovani Gallardo. He did not look like he had a good breaking ball in the first inning, and he's coming out here in the second, throwing it now, first couple of pitches.
Right now, you can chat with Hall of Fame baseball writer Hal McCoy and get the very latest as well from Bengals camp on FoxSportsOhio.com, presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. 1-2 to count on Hannigan. That is a fair ball. And a nice play made by Lucroy. After initially juggling it, and then he had a throw from almost directly behind the runner and made a good throw.
Ball had some spin on it, came off the dirt right there, and it hit the top of the catcher's glove and just spun away from him. Now the problem is a throwing lane. Prince Fielder stretches out from first base just enough.
Now Paul Giannis, batting average at .259, 4 home runs and 19 batted in. Strike one. One and two to Giannis. Grounded foul. Foul away, and Giannis able to hang around, still trailing at a ball and 2 strikes. And a 2-hopper down to third. No problem for McGee, and Giannis retired for the second out of the inning. You know, it's interesting to note, of course, here in the month of August, the Reds hosted a 3-game series against the Cardinals, and everyone knows what happened. The Reds were swept. With that in mind, regardless of the outcome of this game tonight, the Reds will have the best record in the major leagues during this month. They are 18-8. And since the All-Star break, 27-14. Only the Minnesota Twins, among all teams in Major League Baseball, have a better record than the Reds since a break. And that's only because Minnesota's played 2 more games, and they've won them both. Back to the mound, and that'll end the inning. 1, 2, 3, 4, and Gallardo. We play 2, and the Reds lead 2-1.
Within the RBI program is Buses for Baseball. It's a program administered and underwritten by Major League Baseball players. It provides transportation to the game. They pick these kids up, gave them game tickets. You're seeing the personal greet. And this all for underprivileged children, and they're sitting out here. Guys, stand up and wave to the camera now. Here we go. Got the coaches over here. This is a terrific program. You got to be proud to be a part of it.
Yes, sir. I'm real proud of the Cincinnati Reds for sponsoring us and taking care of us. I would like to spend out a special shot to Mr. Charlie Franks and Mr. Bill Dagger. Thank you for taking care of us.
Yes, they do a terrific job. Charlie Frank heading up the Reds Community Fund. And how we doing, guys? You having fun here tonight?
Yes.
We got all kinds of signatures on the helmet, so hey, these players will take care of underprivileged children, and particularly on this night, Homer Bailey, Bill Bray, Miguel Cairo, Paul Giannis, Sam LeCure, and Arthur Rhodes all footing the bill for tonight's festivities. Tom?
Great stuff by those players, and nothing better than seeing the smiles on those kids' faces.
Absolutely.
Nothing better in the world.
There is nothing better. It warms you up just sitting down here with these guys.
No doubt about it. And thanks to those coaches, because, they're giving up a lot of their time. They're not making any money. They're not getting paid to do it.
These are all volunteer coaches down here, so you guys, kudos to you for helping out the youth here in Cincinnati.
Absolutely. And all those everywhere that are watching the game tonight that give their time to whatever it is that you're doing to make, whether it be kids or senior citizens, animals, whatever the case may be, to make their lives better. If you're giving your time, we always say thanks. Reds lead 2-1. Heart of the order for the Brewers here in the third against Aaron Harang. Ryan Braun, Prince Fielder, Casey McGee. Braun hit a rocket on a 3-2 pitch with Corey Hart breaking from first to second base. Valleca was breaking to his right towards the bag, went a step to his left and scooped up the ball, and it wound up turning into an out for Braun, and Aaron Harang has walked him to begin the inning.
3-1 curveball right there. Did not want to throw him a fastball on a fastball count, and just did the same thing that he was kind of rehearsing in the dugout. Just did not finish that breaking ball, kind of spinning him up there. And the reports that I've gotten from down in Louisville, the guys who saw Aaron Harang pitch down there said the same thing. He just kind of rolled his curveball a little bit. Scouts that saw him pitch, and you know, you got to get out there and really finish it. Take some arm speed.
Now Fielder, who had a jam shot leader into left field for a run scoring single in the Milwaukee first inning. Ball one. Fielder now 69 runs batted in. Been a lot of talk about Fielder over the course of this year. One more year before he can become a free agent. The Brewers have given long-term contracts already to Braun and Hart, but not Fielder. There's a roller back to Harang. He'll throw out Prince. And Ryan Braun advances on the second base, one out in the inning. Many wonder if the Brewers are able to afford another big contract and still field an entire team. I mean, that's a danger of becoming, Chris, in some ways what the Houston Astros became in recent years. You go out and pay 4 or 5 guys, you know, a zillion dollars, and all of a sudden you don't have any money left over for the other 20 guys on the team, much like we talked about looking ahead to the Cubs next year. They have 5 or 6 players combined that'll make up $100 million of their team payroll.
It's great when you first sign all those guys and they're young. And when you sign these guys 6, 7, 8 year contracts and they get down towards the last few years and their production is down, it can get real ugly. Because now you're squeezing out other players that you'd like to have on your team, but you can't afford to have.
I mean, there's talk the Cubs are looking to trim their payroll next year somewhere around $125, $130 million. Well, if they're spending on 5 or 6 guys $100 million of that $125, well, that means you got to find 20 players for less than $20 million. 0-2 on McGee. McGee, a base hit into right center field his first time up. The Brewers have 5 hits in the game, and they've left 2 on in each of the first 2 innings. McGee had a pitch to hit right there and fouled it straight back.
Yeah, he had a high fastball that he hit in the right field for a base hit his first time, and you see how good his swing is when that pitch is up in the zone. Every hitter's got a spot where he likes it, and the idea for a pitcher is to stay away from that spot. Hannigan was down and away, and that ball floated way up around the letters, and Harang got away with one. Don't give him another shot.
0-2 on McGee. Braun at second, a tying run, and that's just off the outside corner. 1-2 on McGee.
Getting back to Prince Fielder, now he's making $11 million this year. He's a Scott Boras guy, so you got to figure that Scott Boras is going to probably want Albert Pujols type money. You're talking probably in the range of $19, $20 million a year. It's a lot of production. But what market can afford that? That's the question. And there are already so many good first basemen, especially in the National League. Now, there are a lot of them in the American League, too, but I mean, in the National League, you're already chock full of great first basemen. We like our guy.
Down to the dirt, 2-2 on McGee. Two and two on McGee. Tying run out there is Braun at second base. And it's off the end of the bat. Into right field. Heisey shy of the track. Tagging and advancing on to third is Braun, and they're 2 away. Second time tonight, it'll be Chris Dickerson. He struck out looking on a fastball on the inside corner, stranding 2 in the first inning. The Cardinals and the Astros will be getting started in about 10 minutes from now, and we'll let you know what's going on there. Been a mighty rough road trip for Tony La Russa's team, losing 3 out of 4 in Washington and losing the opener in Houston last night. They'll send one of their horses to the mound tonight, Chris Carpenter. Carpenter will thus start the final game of the 3-game weekend series against the Reds on Sunday afternoon at Busch Stadium. Cardinals have done the same thing for the series in St. Louis that they did here, and line up their top 3 starters for that series. Garcia Friday, Wainwright Saturday, and Carpenter Sunday. Reds will be going with Arroyo, Wood, and Bailey in that order. 1-2 on Dickerson. And Wandy Rodriguez, by the way, who is pitching as well as any pitcher in all of baseball right now, starts the game tonight for Houston. He is really on quite a run. We've seen him pitch some mighty good games through the years. One-two to Dickerson. It's where they got him out his first time up, but this time it was a breaking ball in. One and two again to Dickerson. Lined right at Giannis, and that'll end the inning. Brewers have stranded 5. Reds still lead 2-1.
Keep battling, and that's what we did tonight, and that's what got us here.
Our Geico quote of the day: Jay Bruce is tearing it up against left-handers. Career .262 batting average with 9 dingers. In August, he hit 6 of them with a .333 average. And boy, on the homestand this last week, 4 home runs, hitting .625 against Southpaws. Not in the lineup tonight, Bruce is. Had a little side problem, but he's right in the conversation with Ramon Hernandez, Orlando Cabrera, Bronson Arroyo.
I miss Orlando being in there, don't you?
There's like a formal meeting down there among those guys. I don't know if they put out an agenda.
Bruce Stubbs to lead things off here in the Reds at 3rd inning. Stubbs walked and scored on a 2-run double by Votto in the first.
Well, Orlando is hoping to be back on the lineup this weekend. Of course, the good news about going into September and making a change to your roster is that you can add on players without having to take somebody off. Told me today he feels better and better every day. You know, that rib injury that he had, the oblique, every time you sneeze, cough, turn, roll over in bed, you can re-injure it.
Stubbs chased one out of the strike zone. He's gone on strikes. That's the second of the game for Gallardo. When the Reds get it done this season with an RBI, that means another $25 from Shikley for the Reds Community Fund. Shikley, it's done. Well, now Valaika, he had a base hit, scored on the Votto double as well in that first inning. 1 run, 5 hits, 5 men left on base for the Brewers. 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 man left for the Reds. Valaika 9 for his first 21 is a big lead. 9 for 21.
It's like a Jay Bruce start. Didn't he start off hot like that?
Mm-hmm. Gallardo jumps in front of Valaika, 0-2. Brewers have won 62 while losing 69. They are in 3rd place in the division, way back 14 games behind the Reds. And Valaika gone on strikes, and it's back-to-back strikeouts for Giovanni Gallardo to begin the 3rd inning.
Now, the danger in Gallardo is if you don't get him early and he starts getting to feel that curveball, he'll drop that yacker on you. Boy, that's a tight spinning breaking ball there. Well, that is a lot of spin. I mean, right over the top, too. You call that almost 12 to 6 spin, as in the numbers on a clock.
Joey Votto had the double by Prince Fielder down the right field line to drive in 2 in the first inning. And Gallardo fools him with another wicked breaking ball on the first pitch in the at bat. Comes back with a fastball up and away to even the count at 1-1 on Votto. 2 down, nobody on. Gallardo has retired 8 in a row since Votto had the 2-run double in the first inning. Including tonight, the Reds and the Brewers still have 8 more games against one another this year. The Reds have 1 more trip to Wisconsin. The Brewers have 1 more trip here. 2-2 to Votto. And we told you last night, but by opening this road trip and this particular series, for Ken Maka's team, it'll be 9 straight games against 3 playoff contending clubs. The Reds, 3 against the Phillies, and then 3 against St. Louis. 2-2 to Votto. Runs full. All right, Chris, you've thrown in breaking balls, you've thrown in fastballs. What do you go to 3-2?
Throw him a strike. If I'm Gallardo, it's something down and away. Sometimes you give the guy, you let him win the battle, and you win the war. Meaning you keep the ball out of the spot that he's going to hit a home run with.
Ground ball right at Wheatonson. 1-2-3 third. 9 in a row set down by Gallardo. We move to the 4th. The Reds still lead the Brewers by a run.
American Ballpark. By JTM, food, family, fun, JTM. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by GMC, we are professional grade.
You ever been on one of those? You know, on some party or something like that?
Yeah, the Reds had their holiday party on one of those about 6 or 7 years ago.
In the winter?
In the winter. They've got heat. They close the windows and everything.
Yeah. I get that.
You have to stand out on the deck.
I mean, the idea, though, right, on those things is to be outside, summertime, up and down the river, right?
Yeah, it is. But they got to keep them running in the wintertime to keep the business going.
You're right.
It was good. Had a great time.
1-0 to Lucroy.
I think your dad was the only one to get seasick.
Did he really?
Now, it might have been the chicken.
No, I mean, it might have been him. You know, they've called him Captain Marty at times through the years, but or they used to. Fly ball in the right field, and Heisey will get there. Lucroy retired to open up the top of the 4th inning. See, look at everybody out there. Kids running around, having fun. In the wintertime, you run out there and you freeze in between steps. I got to get out on one of those one night.
Now, they have them over there in Indiana, but I don't think they leave the port.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You'll be there in a couple of weeks. For Marty Brenneman's big golf classic.
Can't wait for that.
It's coming up.
That's the 12th, right?
Yeah, week
12th and 13th.
Yep. Aaron Harang, 3 1/3 innings, has allowed 5 hits, 1 run. He has a 1-run lead. And Craig Counsell batting for the second time. Looks at a strike. 1-1. Counsell lined out to Baleka, who went leaping into the air to take away a hit in the second inning. Brewers have hit a lot of balls hard. I mean, a lot of balls. You're looking at second inning. Lucroy line to right. Counsell line to second. Gallardo had a hit. Weeks had a hit. But he got a big out of Corey Hart. In the last inning, Dickerson in a line drive that nearly undressed Giannis, but that ended that inning. And here's a rocket off Harang's foot that goes to Rowland. And that's an infield hit by Counsell, and hopefully Aaron Harang's all right.
Man, oh man, you could hear that all the way up here, that ball hitting his foot, which is probably a good sign because it probably got him on the bottom of the foot. Nope, that was the top of the foot, and that was a loud one. Take a listen.
Paul Lassard, the head trainer, along with manager Dusty Baker.
You know, you don't realize how fast that ball gets back on you. I mean, a ball hit like that, and that was hit like a shot. Say you throw the ball at 90 miles an hour. Minimum it comes back at is high 90s. Oftentimes over 100 miles an hour. Not easy to get your glove down in time. Seems to be okay. Take another look. Got to get that toe out of there.
What's the word I'm looking for? I get, you know, the hardest line drive ever hit back at you. You remember one in particular?
Well, I had one that didn't hit me that I put my glove up and the center fielder was catching it.
Really?
But everybody's got one off the shins before. A nice shin burger that, I tell you, I missed to start with it. It was one of those that had just kind of crippled the shin muscle, and I couldn't walk for about 4 or 5 days. That was
really
embarrassing.
What do you mean it's embarrassing?
Well,
you don't want to get knocked out
of the game by a hitter, for goodness sakes. He's going to stay in the game. Of course, there'll be some wise guy in the dugout when he comes in there with a fielder's glove on his shoe, walking around. implying that put a glove on that foot and you would have caught that ball.
Or you should have charged that ball. All right, so Harang going to stay in there, counsel a base hit. And now Gallardo had a base hit on an 0-2 breaking ball in the left field his first time up. You got to wonder if Gallardo is going to be asked to bunt. He is scoring around. There's already one out in the inning. Well, I mean, when you're 7 games under 500, and I guess you can say, well, big deal. I didn't have anything to do with anything, and that's probably right. But the way this guy hits,
I think you're trying to win the games if you're Ken Maka because you're trying to come back next year.
But it fouled.
And you're always judged ultimately by your wins and losses.
He only has 2 sacrifices all year long. He has 13 base hits.
They usually don't take a player poll before firing the manager.
No, they don't.
But they do look at the standings.
You know, I was a little perplexed about how many people were on the Brewer bandwagon as a runner goes and they let him hit. Why not? That's what you're supposed to do the way this guy hits, and Counsell goes to third.
He's like having an extra hitter.
No doubt about it.
He swings the bat. 2 for 2 tonight. Little butcher boy. It's a good pitch, too. That was a hit and run all the way. He just wanted to kind of suck the infield in with the fake bunt.
So now Harang in trouble yet again. The Brewers left 2 on, scoring a run in the first. They left 2 more in the second. A runner in scoring position in the third. And now they have 2 on with 1 out at the top of the order here in the 5th.
Gallardo down there at the bottom. I got more hits than you do.
We're in the 4th inning, I beg your pardon. And yes, Gallardo does. Ball 1 to Ricky Weeks. Votto, for a guy who really doesn't talk a lot. I mean, he's a very pleasant guy, but he's not the most outgoing guy in the world. He is one of the more chatty first basemen in all of baseball.
I think he likes to chat it up with the pitchers. You know, try to maybe let them know he's not a mean guy, so that maybe they don't bear down quite as hard on him.
3-0 to Reeks. Would that have worked with you when you were on the mound and then you got a base hit and you were standing next to him at first base?
Now, there are hitters sending limos for me. Especially first baseman. Old first baseman. Old catchers. Guys with slow swings that could catch up with my fastball.
3-0 pitch. And they give Weeks a green light and he comes up empty.
Guy's dangerous.
3-1 offering, and it's fouled out of play. So Harang fell back in the count. 3 balls and no strikes, and now he's running full on Weeks. He could use a ground ball right at one of the middle infielders right here and right now. Harang has never been much of a ground ball pitcher, but he'd like to get one right here from Weeks and get out of this inning.
Aaron's shaking through the fastballs. He got a sinker and then a cutter, and he shook those off. Now he's going to go with the slider.
Wow, he walks him on a 3-2 slider to load the bases for Corey Hart. Second walk of the night for Aaron Harang. And he's thrown now 75 pitches in the game, and he only has 1 out in the 4th inning. And look who's starting to move around down in the bullpen. That's Aroldis Chapman. Well, he's a man that a lot of folks came here tonight to hopefully get a chance to see pitch.
I mean, he was clocked at 105 his last time out. Can he do better than that with adrenaline pumping in his first major league game?
We might find out. Corey Hart with the bases loaded. First pitch swinging, fouls it out of play. Well, we saw Chapman there doing some exercises to loosen that left arm, that left elbow, the left shoulder. But there's another left-hander warming up down there, and it's Bill Bray alongside the right-hander Sam LeCue.
You know, I think Dusty Baker, talking to Dusty before the game, kind of wants to ease Chapman in a little bit. Non-pressure situation.
Ground ball rolling. There's one. Can they turn it? And that's a double play to end the inning. Around the horn. Rolling the rookie Valaika. And on Novato snatches it out of the dirt. And the Reds still lead by a run. On display here at Great American Ballpark. And you can still register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Well, what a huge double play there off the bat of Corey Hart to get Aaron Harang out of yet another jam. The Brewers have stranded 7 runners through 4.
What a play by Roland. I mean, picks it clean and a perfect throw to Valaika. Nice little grab at the other end. Aaron Harang says, way to pick me up, boys. How often does it happen? All the time. Guy makes a great play, leads the inning off.
Well, Roland, great career numbers as we brought up earlier. 6 of 8 coming into the game against Gallardo. He had a line drive right at fielder his first time up. But Gallardo's starting to get on a pretty good run himself. He's retired the last 9. Striking out 3 of the 9.
He's only given up a couple of hits, and those are 2 of the first 3 batters he's faced.
1-2 to count on Roland. And it's too low. Johnny Gomes next, and then Chris Heisey. Reds trying to push their record to a season best 22 games over 500 with a win here tonight. They've won 12 of their last 16, 16 of their last 23, and that ball driven into deep right center field by Roland. And that's up against the wall. It'll be a double for Scotty Roland to begin the 4th inning. And his ownership of Gallardo continues.
Well, there's no real reason for it, but some hitters see the ball real well off the certain pitchers. And Roland does that off of Gallardo. And that ball is crunched. Almost a chula down there in right center field.
Now Johnny Gomes, he hit the ball right on the screws his first time up. Boy, both teams have hit some balls very hard tonight. Gomes lined out to Hart and right in the first inning. Houston batting in the bottom half of the 2nd inning in a scoreless game. Astros entertaining the Cardinals for a 2nd straight night. They'll wrap up their series tomorrow night in Houston. And the Reds and the Cardinals have Thursday off before locking up Friday night in St. Louis. Hit hard into right field. Johnny! 2-run big fly. Chris, twice tonight we've seen Gomes hit the ball the other way. We haven't seen him do that for the better part of a month and a half.
You know, it's almost like he told himself before this ball game, I'm going to do nothing but hit the ball to right field. Hit a line drive to right his first time up, and that little bit of a slider. And not a bad pitch at all. Look at the spot on our box tracks. But he stays with it, and plenty of power for Johnny in this ballpark going oppage. Such a good swing right there. You know, just the way, you know, it could be the fact that he figures he's going to get some breaking balls from Gallardo. And the only way you're going to hit that pitch is to take it the other way. That was kind of a spinner. And he knew it.
That one's into right center field off the bat of Heisey. And he's in with a double. So all of a sudden, after going 9 straight batters without a single one reaching, the Reds have gone double homer, double off Gallardo, but in this inning. Quickly, let's sneak in our AT&T trivia question. Who was the last Red to lead the National League in runs batted in? We'll give you a little while to think about that. Since 1900, the Reds have had the league leader in RBIs 12 times. Seven times since 1970. And Rick Peterson out to talk with Gallardo.
Really, it looked like the conversation with Peterson was more with the catcher, Jonathan Lucroy, to talk about how they're setting pitches up and where they're going in the strike zone, as opposed to Gallardo as to, you know, making some kind of a mechanical adjustment. I mean, you can only go to the well so many times, meaning the same spot in the strike zone, before big league hitters begin to adjust.
Reds with a 4-1 lead. They have a runner at second. Nobody out. Ryan Hannigan a batter. He rolled one out in front of the plate his first time up, and Lucroy threw him out. Ball one. Two 2-0 now to Ryan Hannigan. Runner at second is Heisey. Nobody out. And a fastball is on the inside corner. A called strike to Ryan. This Reds team leads the National League in hitting, runs scored, hits, total bases, home runs, grand slams, RBIs, slugging percentage. Batting with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. There's a tapper to the advancer runner on the third. First out of the inning. They lead the major leagues in overall batting with runners in scoring position. And they have the most pinch hit home runs in all of Major League Baseball. They got a big one here last night from the rookie Juan Francisco.
Now they're making the most of their options tonight. Dusty Baker's crew has seen them leave only 1 runner on base, while the Brewers have stranded 7.
Now Paul Giannis. He grounded out to third his first time up. The infield draws in with a runner at third and 1 out. It's ball 1 to Giannis. Gold played a chance here for the Red shortstop to drive in a run.
All you got to do is get in the outfield.
Squeeze coming, and he missed it. And Heisey's in a rundown. And he will be tagged out by fielder. Giannis couldn't get the bat on the ball, and Heisey a dead duck.
Well, he dropped the curveball on him right here. Some people think a curveball is an easy pitch to bunt, but boy, look where that ball was. That was about 6 inches outside and nearly on the ground. Giannis goes flat on his face to try to get at it, and it's an easy rundown from there. That's the first one I can remember backfiring on the Reds.
I think you're right.
I think we've had about 3 or 4 of them that have been successful.
And Giannis is a guy you do it again with in a heartbeat, because generally he does put the bat on the ball. But right there, that breaking ball, I mean, practically, we showed you the replay, practically dove at it to try and get it on. One and two to Giannis now with 2 outs and a broken bat. Grounded foul. One and two to Giannis, a new piece of lumber, and Gallardo going to work, and it bounces up there to even it at 2-2. Into center field, a 2-out single for Giannis. He'll keep the inning alive for the pitcher, Aaron Harang. Cardinals and the Astros remain scoreless. That game in the top of the 3rd inning at Minute Maid Park. Here the Reds have gotten a double and a 2-run home run in this inning. Roland and Gomes generating a pair of runs, and now the Reds lead is 3. It's strike 1 on Aaron Harang. Tonight, an interesting night when you start taking a look at best records in the league. And we were talking about this the other night, how we've been so busy paying attention to what the Cardinals are doing and, you know, what's the gap between the Reds and the Cardinals atop the National League Central. And it is always first things first. You got to worry about getting into playoffs before you think about, you know, do you have home field advantage? But look, you need to be looking forward. That team behind you, and we mentioned it last night, irrelevant what they're doing. As long as you're winning games. You take a look at going into play tonight, and it is a virtual dead heat for the best record in the National League among the Reds, the Braves, and the Padres. Harang thrown out, and that'll end the inning. By night's end, the Reds could have the best record in the National League. One driven in. That's one guy the Reds would love to have get hot.
Well, you got Johnny Gomes hot, Jay Bruce hot, Joey Votto just stays himself.
Get Phillips back in a lineup, Cabrera back in a lineup.
Runs will not be a problem, or they shouldn't be. Not an easy road trip, though. I mean, obviously the Cardinals will be gunning for the Reds, but the Rockies are playing a little better baseball. They find themselves 7 games back of the San Diego Padres. The Rockies have won 3 in a row. The Padres have lost 5 in a row.
We were talking about, because of that Padre 5-game losing streak, Chris, they're a half game better than the Reds right now as far as best record in the National League. You see Atlanta and Cincinnati identical. Of course, if you get home field advantage throughout the playoffs, if you have the best record in your league, however long it is that you're in the playoffs. Part of the order again for Aaron Harang, Ryan Braun, Prince Fielder, and Casey McGee. foul away, and it's 1-1 on Ryan Braun. Two on Ryan Braun. Braun hit a rocket at Valleca. He tried to feed and did feed Giannis to try and cut down Hart going to second. But Hart was safe. Giannis completed the out of Braun by firing to first. That was in the first. And then Braun walked his last time up. 2-2 to Braun. Well, you look at players, and there have been guys in recent years. Frank Thomas a number of years ago, the first to do A, B, C, D. Albert Pujols, the youngest player to get to 400 career home runs. The fastest player to get to 400 career home runs. And, you know, hitting 30 or more home runs every year he's been in the big leagues. There's a base hit by Braun. But that young man, Ryan Braun, has put up some incredible numbers to begin his major league career.
And he's got a sweet swing. Take a look at this one. Pitch right over the center of the plate, and he takes it right back through the middle.
Braun grew up in Granada Hills, California, but went all the way across the country to the University of Miami in Florida to play collegiate. And look at those numbers. Nearly 400 runs batted in. And bear in mind, he did not come up until the first month and a half of the 2007 year. He wound up knocking in 97 runs in 113 games that year, and has knocked in more than 100 in each of the next two. Prince fielding. A high pop fly. Foul ground. And Votto will run out of room. Well, you're talking about Braun playing tonight in his 551st game, and has knocked in almost 400 runs. Boy, that's doing it.
Lifetime on base percentage over 360. Tell you what, between Braun and Fielder, those are two great run producers right in the middle of your order.
Well, you're not lying.
They don't miss much in the way of time either. They have been very healthy.
Of course, Fielder this year, his numbers are way down from where they've been. Now we'll see where they end up. He's capable of having a final, 5-6 week run and knock the cover off the ball. But after knocking in 81 runs his first year in the big leagues, he's gone 50 homers, 119 batted in, 34, 102, and 08, but then 46 home runs and 141 driven in last year. That is serious run
he's
production.
About half of that production this year. A little more than half. Look at these run numbers, though. These are the ones that count. Guy plays every day. Last year he played 162 games. Year before that, 159. Year before that, 158. Now he's a throwback.
1-2 to Fielder. And it's popped up. This time, can Roland get there? A good effort, but it's
they're playing it fairly deep because there's no bunt threat. Obviously, with 2 strikes, they want to give as much area as you can covered over on the left side. He's playing very deep, had a long way to go. Plus, he swung around towards second base a little bit. Roland is.
the Brewers have just littered the bases tonight with base runners. They have 8 hits, 2 walks, 10 base runners through 4 innings in 1 battle. They stranded 7. Orang got away with 1 there. That was a hanger out over the plate.
And they've got only 1 run.
Orang 88 pitches in the game and has still not recorded an out in this 5th inning. One and 2 on Fielder. Check swing. Did he go around? They appealed and nothing doing, says Ed Hickox.
Now all the umpires down the left field line sitting in the red seats thought he went. There was a cheer as soon as that ball was bounded around behind home plate by Hannigan. That was a changeup. The previous pitch, a breaking ball. Previous to that, it was a changeup.
Casey McGee, the team leader in runs batted in, waits in the on-deck circle. This is the very heart of this Brewer batting order that Orang is trying to get through the 3rd time tonight. He's done a real good job by and large against this trio. Fielder did have the RBI single in the 1st inning, and there is ball 4.
It's pretty doggone good at bat right there by Fielder. Spoiled a lot of pitches. Dusty Baker's going to make his way out there. He's got Bill Bray warming up, right? And Sam LeCure.
Well, every time Dusty walks out of the dugout today, the crowd will have a heightened degree of anticipation because you can't see for sure, no matter where you are in the ballpark, unless you're right next to the bullpen in left center field, of who might be warming up. And everybody here tonight wants to see Aroldis Chapman. But Aaron Harang goes 4+ innings in his first start back since the end of June. Allows 8 hits, 3 walks, and a run. And Sam LeCure will come on from the pen. Out 2, and he's clearly frustrated with his outing tonight. But he'll give way to Sam LeCure, and my oh my, did this young man pitch so well in relief the other night. 2 perfect innings. That was in the final game of the Cubs series on Sunday. Struck out 2. He made some nice starts for this ball club early this year.
Yeah, he really did. You know, Sam LeCure, this is a spot that a lot of different guys have worn the same hat. Starting with Micah Owings early in the year as a long man. But he's got to get out of an inning right here. That's why I think they like LeCure. He can come in, get out of an inning, and then give you a couple of innings until you get to your short guys.
They'll face Casey McGee with Braun at second, Fielder at first. McGee representing a tying run. The Reds in front 4-1 here in the 5th. And LeCure going to work. High fly ball into left field. Johnny Gomes will have room at the track, 1 out, and the runner stay put. Well, let's answer that AT&T trivia question tonight. The last Red to lead the National League in RBIs was the Cobra, Dave Parker. Well, what a great year he had in 1985. Really resurrected his career when he came back to his native hometown of Cincinnati. He just had a monster year for the Reds. Now Dickerson. He struck out looking and lined out to Giannis at short. Slow breaking ball, and it's rolled over foul. Of course, LeCure and Dickerson were teammates just a couple of weeks ago down in AAA Louisville.
Well, they've kept the breaking ball on Dickerson all night. Off speed, breaking ball. He did hit a ball hard off a fastball.
Fastball in there to even the count.
Well, a show me pitch right there. We're showing you inside the glove of Sam LeCure because he'll spike his finger, his index finger, on that curveball. So we'll know what's coming, but Dickerson won't.
Lined into left field, a base hit. And the ball goes under the glove of Johnny Gomes, and 2 runs are going to score. Dickerson might try and touch them all. Nope, they're going to hold him at third. And it's a 1-run game. Gomes thinking about making a throw before he had the ball. And easily 2-run score on a routine single to left field. Although they may score in a triple.
1 hop, 2 hops, and right by him. Ball didn't even look like it hit him. Somehow it went all the way to the wall.
Wow. Well, it scored a single and then an error. And no RBI on the play for Dickerson. That's sort of hard to believe. The single and the error I get, but no RBI.
Well, the scorer has to make the determination as to whether that ball is fielded properly and cleanly by Johnny Gomes, and he would have come up throwing, whether they would have scored the run or not. Normally they give the batter the benefit of the doubt right there. That ball was hit fairly sharply and just bounced right over his glove. Didn't even look like he touched it.
But you know what, good scoring in that, oftentimes you'll hear where you can't give a guy an error because the defender never touched the ball. In this case, that would be silly, because that's a play that Johnny's going to make 9 times out of 10.
If you look right here, though, the third base coach is going to hold the runner up. So that's a good scoring call.
It is, you're right. After seeing that.
And he doesn't wave him on until he sees the ball squirt by Gomes.
So now the tying run is at third with only 1 out. And a number to the second baseman, Valleca. He'll look the runner back, and that's a huge out right there for LeCure. So an excellent job by Ron Roth, our official scorer here at Great American Ballpark. Of course, all the ties that Ron has outside of his regular job and his regular business to working with Moeller High School baseball. The longtime head coach helps him on a regular basis, Mike Cameron, who won a number of state baseball championships as head coach in Moeller.
He was a coach of mine growing up, Ron Roth was.
Really?
Yeah. My 18U team.
Greg Counsell now to bat it. The tying run at third and 1 out, and it's strike 1. That's gone from a west side dominated official scorer's booth here in Cincinnati to an east side dominated booth. All those years, Glenn Sample, who went to, of course, Western Hills High School, one of the all-time great athletes at the University of Cincinnati, and God rest his soul. And now loaded up with a trio of Moeller Crusaders over there. Coach Jones, Coach Roth, and we mentioned Coach Cameron. 1-1 pitch. Good fastball by LeCure on the inside corner.
You know what Sam LeCure lacks in pure stuff, and he tops out his fastball at 89, maybe 90. He just has a kind of that attitude about him. He's not afraid to pitch inside. Kind of a gunslinger attitude. So here it is, come and get it.
One and two on Counsell. Tying one at third is Dickerson. Breaking ball, grounded to Votto. He knocks it down, finds it, feeds LeCure. What a job by Sam LeCure. A misplayed ball allows two to score, but LeCure takes care of business. The Reds still lead by a run. To remind you, since no player yet has hit the sign for the fan to win the Toyota Tundra, your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers are donating the truck to a local fire department on Saturday, September the 11th. 8 local fire departments will join Dusty Baker for the ceremonies before the game. Compliments of your local Toyota dealers. That's great stuff. All right, we're only in the bottom of the 5th inning. And this game is nearly 2 hours young. The Reds have a 4-3 lead. Giovanni Gallardo, the Milwaukee starter, still in there, and Drew Stubbs hammers his second pitch here in the bottom of the 5th down the left field line. This will be a 2-base hit for Stubbs. A Walker run scored, a strikeout, now in double by Drew.
Now he gets a fastball in the inner part of the plate, and that's his hot zone. Boy, he likes the ball on the inner third about thigh high, and he gets the back part of the bat on it.
Bring you up to date on what's going on in Houston. The Astros have just scored a pair of runs in the bottom of the 4th inning against Chris Carpenter. And they have a runner at third with nobody out, still batting. Well, Carpenter was really roughed up his last start in Washington, D.C. It was a game where the Cardinals came back in the 9th inning to take the lead, but then Ryan Franklin gave it up in the bottom of the 9th, and the Nationals won the game in 13 innings. I mean, every time you looked up, there was a National hitting a rocket somewhere off Carpenter. Of course, the Reds have not beaten him in 4 years, and they'll see him on Sunday afternoon. 0-1 now to Valaika with Stubbs at second and nobody out. Valaika 1 for 2, has singled, scored, and struck out. Gallardo's 75th pitch of the night coming up. The check of the runner Stubbs, and now the pitch to Valaika. Here's a fastball low and in. Two and two. Reds took a 3-run lead in the bottom of the 4th inning on the 2-run home run by Gomes. But then Johnny's error allowed a couple of runs to score in the top of the 5th, trimming the lead down to a run. The Reds looking to tack on after the leadoff double by Stubbs here in the bottom of the inning. 2-2 on Valaika. Outfield straight away, likewise for the infield. Strike 3 called on the inside corner at 92-mile-per-hour fastball. I don't think Valaika liked that call by Field and Colbert.
What does our Cincinnati Children's Fox track say? You know, that inside pitch is one that you don't see an umpire miss all that much, because he's sitting right over the shoulder of the catcher on the inner part of the plate. But if you believe Fox tracks, that ball was inside.
So now Joey Votto. Votto's knocked in 2 tonight with a double. Grounded out his last time to Weeks. And is down a strike. Votto with a runner Stubbs at second base. We talked about it the other night. Now be doggone if he didn't go do it on the next pitch. About Stubbs trying to get down to third with only 1 out in the inning. At that time it was nobody out in the inning. And he stole third base about as easy as you can steal a base. That was during the Chicago series. They're trying to keep him close here. A 1-1. Good breaking ball there by Gallardo for strike 2. Votto, the National League leader with 96 runs batted in. Takes low and inside, even a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. He leapfrogged Albert Pujols, if you weren't with us back in the opening inning, with a 2-run double to right. He started the night 1 behind Albert. Fastball the way to run it full.
Well, he's really peppering the different parts of the strike zone. You talk about a guy just trying to tease you into swinging at a pitch that is not your pitch, and Votto's not biting. Slider down and in, fastball running away at 94.
And you got to wonder if this would be a case. It doesn't figure if you go by track record, because the guy in the on-deck circle has owned Gallardo, even with a base open here. Throw him a breaking ball on 3-2 that he fouls away. Rolen came in 6 for 8 career against Gallardo. Hit a line drive that nearly took the glove off fielder who caught it in the first inning. And then Rolen doubled to right center field in the 4th and scored a run. Two on Votto. Popped up shallow left. This is going to fall in for a hit. Rounding third and scoring is Stubbs, and Votto with a bloop double and RBI. 97 runs driven in. How many times have we seen him do that right there on pitches away from it?
Well, you know, he hangs in there as well as anybody in the league. I mean, makes himself a real tough strikeout. That's a ball. But he goes down there and he flicks it into left field. The left fielder playing deep, obviously, because of his power. And Drew Stubbs knew exactly where the outfielders were playing. And he read it nicely, and then comes around to score. So back to a 2-run lead.
And now looking for more with Votto in scoring position and Rolen the batter. Curveball, strike 1. Throw a fastball up and away, and Rolen chased it, coming up empty. Two on Scott Rolen. Breaking ball, but he doesn't chase. Rolen 2 strikes, 5 runs, 8 hits for the Reds, 3 runs, 9 hits for Milwaukee. This game only in the bottom of the 5th inning. inside corner. And again, Roland has a few things to say to Field and Culbreth. A few more words in a rookie Chris Valleca would get away with.
Valleca was called out on a pitch that our Fox track said was in off the plate, and that one, our Fox track says the same thing. Field and Culbreth's got a wide girth on that inside corner. Tom, want to send out some love to our guys at Papa John's, Jeremy Kendrick and company of the downtown franchise. They brought up all the pizzas to the crew before the game tonight. Delicious. Thanks, guys. Papa John's hit the spot.
Oh, yeah. Now on Johnny Gomes, who lined out to right in the first inning, hit a 2-run home run to right in the fourth. And now they're going to go ahead and intentionally walk Johnny and take their chances with Heisey. Heisey's been to the plate a couple of times tonight, struck out swinging in the first, had a double to right center field in the fourth. As good a year as Gallardo has had, and Chris mentioned earlier he had a good start early in the year against the Reds. These last two outings against Cincinnati, he does not resemble anything close to the guy we've seen all of last year and the early part of this year. In fact, if you look at Gallardo's numbers since coming back off the disabled list, he's had a lot more games like this one tonight than he has good games. He allowed 12 earned runs in 9 2/3 innings over his last two starts before the game here tonight. And he has not allowed fewer than 4 runs in a game since his first start in August.
Well, he's had kind of a trauma-filled week after his last start Wednesday against the Dodgers. Went 6 innings, gave up 6 runs. He and the clubhouse guy went out for a late-night snack, and he was robbed at gunpoint in downtown Milwaukee, out on the west side. I mean, he had a gun to his head, from what the report that I had heard, and the clubhouse equipment man was pistol whipped to the point where he had a concussion. I imagine that would shake you up a little bit.
Oh, man.
I know what happened to me, and it will shake you up for a long time.
When did that happen to you?
It happened to me after a Reds-Phillies spring training game at Jack Russell Stadium. That's before the Phillies built their new complex in Clearwater. I left in the 8th inning and was surprised when I got to my car.
Man. Two and one to Heisey with 2-1 and 2 men out. Of course, in spring training, you know, once you pitch in a game, once you play in a game, most players are free to go ahead and leave the ballpark once you're finished during a spring training game.
And I was there as a spectator, as a broadcaster.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it happened in the early 90s.
Wow.
But I mean, for Gallardo to come right back, and you know, I mean, not that you're going to put on a trauma leave, but I mean, it can shake you up a little bit.
I would imagine. Good board will, nobody else will find out about that. But far too frequently you hear about it, read about it. Beyond belief. Every night. Well, the runners will get started with 2 men out and a 3-2 count on Heisey. And Gallardo delivers, struck him out on a breaking ball to win the inning. But the Reds get doubles by Stubbs and Votto. They strand 2 and lead by 2.
Will Aroldis Chapman get into the game tonight? And if you look at the video of Aroldis Chapman pitching, yes, indeed, he registered not 1 but 2 pitches at 105 miles per hour. Now, the important thing is here, as he records a strikeout at 104 miles per hour, all were strikes. It leads us to our Meyer text poll question of the night. What do you think will happen in the big leagues? What will his fastball top out at tonight or when he gets into the ball game? 100, 102, 105, or mercy 106 plus? Text 1, 2, 3, or 4 to 37664. Standard text message rates apply. We'll have the results coming up. All 4 of those would be something. We haven't seen triple digits on the radar gun out of a Reds pitcher in quite some time.
Well, you're not lying about that. And there you get a look at some of the early results. And we'll fill you in on some of the final numbers when we get a little further along. Giovanni Gallardo to lead things off for the Brewers against Sam LeCure. LeCure on a relief of Aaron Harang, who made his first start since the end of June, allowed 8 hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts in 4+ innings. %52% of you at home believe he'll be at 105 or higher. I'm quite surprised by that number. There's ball 4 to Gallardo, which is a bigger surprise.
Yeah, I think the other thing to keep in the now, let's say it's the radar gun here at the ballpark or the radar gun that we use for Fox Sports Ohio, because they do vary. The reading that I saw, we saw on a website yesterday, Tom, I showed you, was that of a scout's radar gun who was sitting by an on plate. Until then, sit and wait.
Well, you know he wants to get in the game. There is very little debate about that. We like to see him as well. But if it's his time, so be it. If not, we can't do a darn thing about it. Drusik and Bray loosen in the bullpen as LeCure gets ahead of Weeks at no balls and 2 strikes. So Weeks is gone swinging. First strikeout for Sam LeCure.
Well, you got to love the way Sam LeCure, not afraid to pitch inside. Fielding Colbert is calling that baby.
They're not lying. We saw it to Valleca and Rowland in the bottom of the 5th inning, and now the strikeout looking to Weeks. Here in the top of the 6th, it'll bring Corey Hart to the plate. Reds in front by 2 with 1 on and 1 out. Good breaking ball there by LeCure. Houston still leading St. Louis. That game now in the bottom of the 5th inning, 3-0. The Cardinals, of course, were shut out by J.A. Happ on just 2 base hits last night. Here's that breaking ball again, hoping that Hart will chase it, blowing away. Fastball that's just off the outside corner. Hart singled to center on a first pitch fastball in the first inning. Scored the first run of the night on the base hit by Fielder. He has since struck out and bounced into a huge double play. That's when the Brewers had the bases loaded and only one out in the fourth inning. He had a ground ball to the right of Rowland, who started the 5-4-3 double play. Chapman down there talking things over with closer Francisco Cordero. Two and two on Hart. There's that breaking ball, and Field and Culver says ball three. Gallardo doesn't figure to run on a 3-2 pitch. He's not. And a 3-2 curveball is fouled out of play to the first base side.
Boy, they really got Corey Hart reaching for that outside curveball tonight. I mean, just trying to make contact right there. Well, he's a well off the plate. I mean, if you see where he lines up, he doesn't give himself much of a chance to get out there and get that pitch, because he doesn't actually square up his body and dive towards the plate at all. Definite cripple hitter.
High fly ball straight away center field. Drew Stubbs comes on to get it for the second out of the inning. So one more out to go in a 6-4 liqueur. And don't forget, this week on Fox Saturday Baseball, that's right, Joey Votto and the Redlegs taking on Albert and the Cardinals. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Gillette, returns this week at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. That'll be a matchup of Saturday of Adam Wainwright for St. Louis and the 23-year-old southpaw Travis Wood of the Reds. So night game on Friday night, that'll be on Fox Sports Ohio. The day game on Fox Network. Locally, that's channel 19 in the greater Cincinnati area. Check your local listings wherever it is that you are watching. And then Sunday back here on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live gets underway at 1:30, and the game coverage begins at 2 in the afternoon. So now Ryan Braun, Reds leading by 2, and there's strike one. Nothing in one to Braun. And a fastball is fouled out of play into the upper deck off to the first base side. So LeCure ahead of the Milwaukee left fielder Braun at no balls and 2 strikes. Be interesting to see how the Reds stack them up near the end of the game here. Arthur Rhodes clearly was bothered by that plantar fascia that he is suffering from in both heels. Primarily, it appeared as though the left heel was bothering him the most. Will we see him tonight? Massett has been very busy. An inning and 2/3 last night. Straight away center field. Stubbs going back with room. Inning over. LeCure slams the door after a leadoff walk. The Brewers have stranded 9, and the Reds still lead by 2. Valleca airborne to take away a hit from Craig Counsell back in the second inning. And that is the Coors Light Freeze Can, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Crowd applauding. They had the kiss cam in between innings, and they took a shot out there in the outfield at the end of the Milwaukee bullpen. Todd Coffey sitting next to one of the other relievers, and they gave each other a big hug out there, and it drew a round of applause. Ryan Hannigan, Paul Janisch, and Sam LeCure due up. Reds in front 5-3 against Gallardo and the Brewers. With the Cardinals still trailing, batting in the 6th inning with 2 outs and nobody on, trailing 3-0. Ever since the Cardinals came to town and swept the Reds 3 games in a row, on the 9th, 10th, and 11th of August, Dusty Baker's team has lost a total of 4 times, winning 12, trying to make it 13-4 tonight and finish off the month of August with the best record in all of Major League Baseball. A win tonight, and the Reds will go 19-8 during the month. That is doing it. And really, it has been such an odd month, Chris, in so many ways. The Reds, for the first time, have been nipped by the injury bug this month. They've lost their shortstop Orlando Cabrera by and large for the entire month, as Hannigan draws a walk. They've lost Brandon Phillips. Jim Edmonds, who came over to sort of spell Drew Stubbs from time to time, came over. He got hurt. Edinson Volquez taken out of the rotation after initially coming back in it. Aaron Harang has been out since June until tonight. During this month, we've seen Travis Wood have the 2 worst starts of his major league career after 7 great ones to start it. We've seen Mike Leake, who, along with Jaime Garcia, was the best rookie starting pitcher in the National League the first 3 months of the year, be taken out of the rotation, eventually to be placed on the disabled list. I mean, it has really been a very odd month for the Reds in terms of things that went on that hadn't gone on in the prior 4 months, and yet they've just continued to win.
So can you call them a team of fate?
I don't know what you call them.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, a guy gets hurt, your starter gets hurt, you put in a sub, and the guy goes off that particular day or that week and has the best week of his career. Look what happened earlier in the year when Joey Votto sat out when he's out 6 or 7 games.
9 games.
9 games. Miguel Cairo came in and hit 600 while he was gone. Roland misses some games. Cairo goes in again and tears it up.
Giannis down the left field line, and that'll go to the wall. Hannigan on his way to third as it bounds away from Braun, and Hannigan's going to score. RBI double by Giannis. 6-3 Redlegs. So Paul Janisch, after struggling most of the homestand, a couple of hits and an RBI tonight.
Now they got a breaking ball that hung on the inner part of the plate, and he lashed it right down the third base line, and it hits that into the scoreboard area, and it kicks away from the left fielder. Well, you talk about a bad hop right there. Ryan Braun chasing that ball around like it's a live rat, and Ryan Hannigan will come all the way around to score. That's what good teams do. They add on.
You're right. You know, you were talking about guys filling in for somebody. Who could forget the very first series, or the final game before the Reds and the Cardinals got together? I think it was the 8th of August. When Joey Votto got thrown out of the game, that was the morning they announced, or Votto got thrown out of the game in Chicago, and Paul Janisch comes in, had 4 hits in a game, batting in a 3-hole.
That's right. That's the kind of year it's been.
I'm trying to remember how many runs he knocked in that day.
Call it luck, call it karma. Call it lucky karma. Doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter. You're right. Cure had to put the bat on the ball to keep it from hitting him in the ear. On a high, tight fastball, trying to advance a runner with a bunt. And I was wrong about Giannis. That was when the Reds were in Chicago the 4th of July. That was the game when Votto found out that morning he was not on the All-Star team. Bunted, Gallardo will throw to third. Tag there, not in time. Gallardo taking a chance. And not in time to get Giannis.
Well, it's not a tag, or it's not a force play over there. You got to get the tag down. It looked like the third baseman was just slow at getting it down there. He kind of was very deliberate, was Casey McGee. And because he was slow, Giannis beats it in there. You got to have been able to get that tag down way before that. On a good play by Gallardo.
What's going to do it for Gallardo? Boy, the Reds have knocked him around yet again tonight. That's back-to-back starts. Well, they have really had his number. Left-hander Manny Parra will come on from the bullpen. On the mound.
Now it's a beat-up bullpen for the Brewers. They pitched a lot of innings lately, and that's one reason why Ken Maka was so reluctant to go to the bullpen last night. Equally as reluctant tonight. But he had his starter, Giovanni Gallardo, go deep into the pitch counts anyway. He was up around 110 pitches before he finally rescued him out of this ball game. So they bring in a left-hander, Parra, to face Drew Stubbs with runners on the corner. Reds ought to be able to play a little more add-on right here. This game is not safe yet. Not with that Brewer offense.
3-1 lead, looking for more indeed. There's strike one to Stubbs, who has walked, scored, struck out, doubled, and scored again. To Drew Stubbs, and a tapper in front of the plate. He may beat this out. Well, they got him. That's a nice play by Jonathan Lucroy.
Boy, Lucroy really showed a gun of an arm right there, and he knew he had to get rid of it in a hurry, because Drew Stubbs was well, that's a nice play. Barehand the ball while it's still rolling slightly, turn and just come up firing.
Well, now Vallejo with the infield drawn in, runners at second and third and one out. Chris 1 out of 3 in the game, has singled, scored, struck out swinging, and looked at strike 3 his last time up. Vallejo 9 for 23 to begin his major league career with a home run, a double, and a couple of runs batted in. Fastball in, a ball and a strike on Valleca. Talked about Valleca. Chris told a story earlier about how he was among the top 2 or 3 prospects in the Reds organization before last year. Broke a bone in his hand in the month of May and just had an awful year. Wound up batting just .235. As that one gets away from the catcher and everybody's going to stay put. You're talking about a guy in Valleca who had, you know, parts of minor league years of hitting .324, .307, .363, .301. This young man knocked in 86 runs and had 18 home runs in the 2008 season. I mean, he was on the rise quickly. Admittedly learned a great deal, learned about failure for the first time in his young professional career last season, and came back this year again at Louisville and played extremely well. Two-1 to Valleca. Pulled him on a breaking ball.
You know, Chris Valleca has been at a high level of baseball really for a long time. When he was 15, he played for the USA baseball team that won a gold medal. In 2001 and 2003, they won a silver medal in the Pan American Games. And he won a gold medal at the World University Games in 2004 at the college national level.
He was a teammate of Drew Stubbs on that club.
Also played with Troy Tulowitzki and Ryan Zimmerman. So he's been exposed to some good competition in baseball ever since his mid-teens. Went to UC Santa Barbara.
2-2 on Valleca. And nearly hit him. And a real nice play by Lou Poole.
Did that ball even make it to the dirt?
I don't know.
It's been a while since we've seen that. Replace your divot. Oh, just did. You can rake that. Won the Chief Bender Award in 2008 for the top minor leaguer in the Reds organization.
Boy, we miss him around here. What a good guy he was. Sheldon Chief Bender.
You're not kidding. Boy, he was here, I think, longer than anybody but Bernie Stowe.
Did a great job for so long in the Reds front office. Scouting players, evaluating players, developing players.
You're talking about going back to the days of the Big Red Machine.
Oh, yeah.
Funniest story about Chief Bender I know is that, you know, Marge Schott owned the ball club and wanted to cut back financially. And one year cut the entire staff, non-uniform staff, down to about 17 people. And Chief Bender was one of the guys that she wanted to fire. Well, he kept showing up for work. And eventually she put him back on the payroll. He wouldn't leave.
3-2 on Valleca. Runners at second and third. The drawn in infield, and Valleca's out on strikes. Third time they've struck him out tonight. And now lefty on lefty. Here comes Votto against Parra with 2 on and 2 out. Of course, it's all secondary. We still have a little more than 5 weeks to go, right at 5 weeks to go in the year. And of course, the team is what you're thinking about, and that's the #1 concern. But man, when you look at the numbers of Votto and Pujols, trying to determine who's the most valuable player this year because their numbers are almost identical, that is going to be one fascinating vote.
Where you give
if
the
these
edge.
guys, you know, pretty much stay where they are.
Yeah, but don't you normally give the edge? I mean, say you meaning the voters. I know we don't vote, but to the team that is on top.
I would.
I mean, that's the tradition.
But I mean, you know, Andre Dawson, one of my favorite all-time players, won an MVP award on a last-place team.
Well, there's sometimes you have such an outstanding year that nobody else is even close. But you're talking about two guys that are within reach of each other.
Yeah.
You don't know how it's going to end. There's still, what, 26 games to go?
Oh, 30 games. 30 games, I believe it is, after tonight. Yep. Breaking ball away. What we do know is Votto has 2 doubles and 3 RBIs tonight to take the league lead with 97 runs batted in. Well, you wonder, will he get anything to hit? He'll be ready to hit 3-0 if they give him something. Not even close. And they're loaded for rolling.
You know, it almost seems like Manning Parr is more comfortable throwing to right-handers than he is left-handers. At least left-handers like Joey Votto.
I mean, look at these numbers. And these aren't the only 3 categories where they are almost identical. But, of course, those are the Triple Crown categories and the numbers that most would pay attention to. But you start looking at total bases, Pujols does have a substantial lead in that category.
How about OPS?
Well, they don't break that down, but on base percentage, Votto is 1, Pujols is 2. As they're loaded for rolling. Check swing, ball 1. In slugging percentage, Pujols at .602, Votto at .600, although Votto's gone up tonight with 2 doubles. Pujols is second in the league in extra base hits. Votto is 7th.
Votto is above Pujols in OPS. Not by much, just a couple of fraction points.
Yeah, I mean, basically it's a wash. And here's a base hit by Rowan that'll drive in at least 2 more. Dickerson able to cut it off. A big 2-out, 2-run double by Scotty Rowland. And the Reds extend their lead to 5.
Now the second double of the night for the Reds' third baseman, and this is a rocket shot over the head of the shortstop into the gap in left center field. That ball is hit right on the screws, and the Reds just keep on coming.
8 runs tonight, all earned runs, charged to Giovanni Gallardo.
Now the Brewers came back and scored 2 in the top of the 5th, and the Reds have scored 4 times since.
See 7 doubles tonight for the Reds, a season best. And now, Chris, you're getting that 5-run lead. You talked about what Dusty Baker said. If he was going to use Aroldis Chapman, wanted something in a little more relaxed atmosphere. 5-run lead. Are we getting there?
Sounds good to me. He looks pretty relaxed.
2-0 to Johnny Gomes.
Now the win tonight will make a birthday boy very happy. Celebrating number 81, Dick Weiland from Hyde Park. Happy birthday to you. Watches us every night.
Really? Well, thank you very much, Dick. Two and one account on Johnny. Big swing and a miss. Gomes is lined out to right at a 2-run home run to right and been intentionally walked.
Hey, Reds fans, for great food with family and friends this summer, think JTM. Food, family, fun, JTM.
Inning over. The Reds send 8 men to the plate. 3 score. They lead by 5 as we go to the 7th. Nation's fastest 3G network, AT&T Rethink Possible. By your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com. By Wendy's, you know when it's real. And by Hollywood Casino, more action, more excitement. Get to Hollywood Casino, Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Well, the beat goes on in Houston. The Astros behind Wandy Rodriguez, a 3-0 lead over Chris Carpenter. And the St. Louis Cardinals, that game going to the bottom of the 7th inning. They just completed the bottom of the 7th. They're going now to the 8th. And taking over on the mound. What a job again turned in by Sam LeCure. 2 more outstanding innings out of the bullpen. He allows 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, no runs. Bill Bray on the pitch. LeCure threw a first pitch strike to every batter he faced.
You know, it's just amazing the guys the Reds have been able to bring up out of the minor leagues this year. We haven't seen a bad one yet.
Nope.
I mean, it used to be over the last decade we'd see players I guess really should be on the bench starting every day. So then you need a sub player coming in, and that guy was overmatched at the major league level. But now you've got guys, you know, bursting at the top of this minor league pipeline, and they're ready to play big league ball.
Fly ball to left field, 1 out. Bill Bray has faced Prince Fielder 10 times and gotten him out every time. Casey McGee, 1 of 3, singled in the first inning, has since flied to right and flied to left. And 1 on McGee. Will be followed by Dickerson here in the Milwaukee 7th inning. The Reds with 2 in the first after falling behind 1-0. Got 2 in the 4th inning to take a 3-run lead. The Brewers got within a run with a pair in the top of the 5th. But the Reds got 1 in the bottom of the inning and 3 more in the 6th. And have an 8-3 lead. Tapper down to third and rolling the perfect throw to Votto for out number 2. Now Dickerson 1 for 3 in the game. Had the base hit into left field with 2 on back in the 5th inning. And the ball went right underneath Johnny Gomes' glove and 2 runs scored. No RBI for Dickerson. It was ruled a single. And a 2-run error by the Reds left fielder. Straightaway center field. Backing up on it is Stubbs, and a 1-2-3 7th for Bill Bray. They stand and stretch at Great American Ballpark. The Reds lead by 5.
Well, at the end of the inning, Tom, saw a lot of people heading into the exit. You know, he reaches 10 o'clock, got to get some kids into school. But I imagine that they hear the news that Chapman might be up in the bullpen, they may just come on back to their seats.
Well, he is clearly getting ready to come into this game. I mean, that's just not out there just to get, you know, loose to get a little throwing in on the side. You have a pitcher spot due up, what, 4th here in the inning. As Heisey hits a ground ball to Counsell. And, of course, Chapman, and you know about this, Chris, it takes a little while to learn how to get loose as a reliever compared to get loose before you make a start. And he's been at it long enough now where that probably is not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of months worth.
And the crowd reacting now as they put Chapman up on the board, getting loose in the pen.
Under the watchful eye of Porky Lopez.
Two and one on Hannigan. Foul away. 2-2 on Hannigan. Well, follow the Reds on your iPhone, iPod Touch, BlackBerry, and Android phone with MLB.com's At Bat 2010. Go to Reds.com to check it out. Look at all the fans with their cameras, their phones, whatever the case may be, snapping off the shots of Aroldis Chapman, who continues to throw in the bullpen. And there's ball 4 to Ryan Hannigan. Well, one final check as we remind you about your chance to win a Fox Sports Ohio Meijer prize pack. You can text the word Meijer, M-E-I-J-E-R, to 37664 now to be entered. We wish you good luck. The final numbers in our text poll question about if Aroldis Chapman would pitch tonight, where would his fastball top out on the radar gun? 51% of you, 51%, believe it'll be at 105 or higher. That is a stunning number. But you never know. Clocked at 105 in Louisville the other night. Well, Giannis pulls it foul and out of play with 1 on and 1 out. Giannis just had a good night. 2 hits and 3 at bats, and an RBI double, and scored in a 3-run 6th inning.
And really the only blemish was his inability to get that bunt down. A very tough pitch to try to bunt on a suicide squeeze.
Randy Parra on a relief of Giovanni Gallardo, who struggled again here tonight. There's 1, there's 2. Are we about to witness the major league debut of Aroldis Chapman? Stay tuned. 22-year-old Cuban was signed by the Reds to a 6-year contract on January the 11th. A young man, of course, who was a star pitcher of the Cuban national team, but had never pitched in the United States, had never been to the United States. He defected from Cuba in July of 2009 before the start of the World Court Tournament in Rotterdam, Netherlands. Established residence in the Principality of Andorra, making him a free agent eligible to be signed by any major league team. He turned 22 years old while the Reds were in Goodyear, Arizona in spring training. Chris, we saw him down there a handful of times.
He looked like the real deal down there, Tom. Pulled the ball very hard. They sent him to Louisville for some seasoning as a starter. Had some great moments, had some tough moments, had some control problems that he eventually overcame, especially when they switched him to the relief role about 2 months ago. It has been 23 days for Aroldis Chapman since giving up a run. Of course, that was down in the minor leagues in AAA.
The first batter he will face in his major league career, Jonathan Lucroy of the Milwaukee Brewers, on this August 31st, 2010. Fastball strike. And Ryan Hannigan immediately turned and flipped the ball into the Reds dugout to save it for Aroldis Chapman. 98 miles per hour on the fastball.
Just getting loose.
There's a slide piece to get ahead 0-2.
Oh, nasty.
.102 miles per hour on that pitch on the gun.
Boy, how did he even get the bat on it?
3 pitches, 3 strikes for Aroldis Chapman. And now the 0-2 on Lucroy. See you later. Mercy, mercy, mercy.
I mean, you've got to get the bat going so early to catch a fastball at 100 miles an hour. You drop a slider or a breaking ball of that quality on you, you have no chance.
Now Craig Counsell, a left-handed batter. Triple digits.
Place is loving it.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, there hadn't been this kind of electricity for any player that's come up and made his major league debut for the Reds in a long, 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 long time. Ground ball by Counsell to short. That was clocked at 102 miles per hour. Jim Day, what's it like downstairs at field level?
It's electric down here. Not only the crowd, but the guys in the dugout in an 8-3 game. Normally there's guys just sitting back. A lot of guys that aren't in the game are back in the clubhouse. There's not a single Reds player that is back in the clubhouse. In fact, all the clubhouse attendees, Rick Stowe, everyone is out here to see Chapmania. And down here, it takes a lot to give me chills. I had chills when he came out of that bullpen.
6 pitches, 6 strikes. Now Carlos Gomez, a batter. First ball, pretty strong. All the buildup going back to his arrival in the United States. signing the contract with the Reds. And in his major league debut, that is domination. A strikeout, a 1-2-3 inning. Welcome to the major leagues and welcome to Cincinnati. Aroldis Chapman. First batter in the career of Aroldis Chapman. A strikeout. What an inning. I mean, Bill Schroeder, longtime major league catcher, longtime announcer for the Brewers. He just looked at us through the glass in between the booths, and the only word he could say was, wow. That was unbelievable.
I'll tell you what, he all of a sudden just electrified this ballpark. Just under 20,000 in the ballpark tonight, and almost all of them stayed, and they were all on their feet the entire inning.
Well, that figures to be the only inning we'll see Chapman tonight. I mean, with all the buildup, all the buzz, the adrenaline he has going, I would imagine you let him get that first inning, Chris, under his belt. We'll see.
Well, you know, you got to get the guy comfortable. He looked pretty comfortable to me, but you have to get beyond that adrenaline stage where it's a novelty being out there and get him to the point where he will be part of this ball club. And what a difference maker he could be.
So officially, Francisco will bat for Chapman to begin the inning. And bounces out against a new Milwaukee pitcher, former Red, Todd Coffey. Man, was that exciting. And just think, there will be a sequel. And another, and good Lord willing, a pile of them for many, many years to come.
It makes a guy like Todd Coffey who throws pretty firm. 94 seemed downright ordinary.
Bruce Stubbs the batter. Takes outside. Reds batting here in the last of the 8th inning with an 8-3 lead. Cardinals are batting in the top of the 9th inning in Houston, trailing 3-0. They have a leadoff man at second base against the Houston closer, Brandon Lyon. One and two on Drew Stubbs. A pair of runs scored tonight for Drew. He's going to walk and a double, and now he strikes out. 2 away. Valeka, he singled and scored in the first inning. Has struck out 3 times since. Swinging, looking, swinging again. Of course, his teammates picked him up in that 6th inning after Chris struck out with runners at second and third and 1 out. Votto followed with a walk, and Rolla knocked in a pair with a double. only wonder what is going through that young man's mind. I am often amazed, and Chris, you've been around a lot more of these guys than I have, but in 24 years broadcasting Major League Baseball, and of course having a chance to grow up around the game, and what a great blessing that was, and to meet young men from all over the world who make their way into the major leagues. I mean, you can only wonder. There was undoubtedly a time in Aroldis Chapman's life, and really not all that long ago, probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, where he wondered, would he ever get out of Cuba under a dictatorship there where, you play for the Cuban national baseball team, your life is probably better than most, but the overwhelming majority are living in abject poverty in that country. And he was wondering if, am I ever going to get a chance to play Major League Baseball, because he knew he had the skills to do it if he would ever get the chance. But boy, there's nothing more hollow, is there, than knowing you can do something but never getting the chance.
Well, he'll get the chance here. He defected last July the 1st, when the Cuban team, while they were on the road and traveling, they did not confiscate the players' passports, and they left the door wide open for him. As you mentioned, became a citizen of the Principality of Andorra, which is a small little country between Spain and France. The Reds signed him, made the biggest move in the offseason, the Reds did, and they finally got him in the major leagues. Aroldis Chapman.
Dinner hosted by Beacon Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. And all the proceeds benefit the Reds Community Fund. Find out more at reds.com/Marty Golf. He's looking very dapper there tonight. What is that? Well, what is that color? That's not pink, is it? It's a mix between orange and pink? That's a color you wear a lot, Chris.
Was that peach?
Yeah, you look good.
I wear that color?
Yeah. You look very good in that color. There he goes again with his nose in that computer. I tell him, get it out of there.
It's kind of a resort look for Marty. Of course, he'll be sporting.
Well, his life is a resort.
Yeah, well, he'll be sporting that big time at his own golf tournament. If you want to see a grown man cry, come on out to that golf tournament. You know why?
Why is
every year, sometimes it's not good form to win your own tournament.
You're right.
But it didn't matter with your dad.
Well, he was mad with me because, our team won. That ball blasted by Ricky Weeks. And that's into the stands to make it an 8-4 game against Logan Andrusa.
But he would win his golf tournament a couple of times in a row, and then you bought a team in, starting last year?
3 years ago.
3 years ago?
Yep.
And you've taken it to him pretty consistently.
Well, we won, and then he came back the next year, and he beat us by a stroke. And, look.
Now, both of you guys are doing your best to just load up the teams with as many ringers as you can find.
Fly ball to left, and that's one out.
Well, after every Reds game, Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio breaks down the game, the action, and we'll give you the most comprehensive highlights, exclusive interviews with the players and Dusty Baker before anyone else. And tonight we're looking at the Cardinals starting rotation. The Reds will face in St. Louis. That's Reds Live, brought to you by Kings Honda and the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. And of course, you will also get video, talk, analysis about Aroldis Chapman tonight. Be worth tuning into.
Are you going to go join the guys out on the set tonight to give an in-depth analysis of Aroldis Chapman?
No, I think you and I are probably going to hang up here in the booth and do what we normally do, get called upon to give our assessment from right up here at the bird's eye seat. So I want to thank you ahead of time for being with me.
Sinking liner into right field. That'll fall in a base hit. I think you must get me confused with Jeff Pecora.
You're not too good to be on the postgame show, are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I want a guy that can go a full 9 innings.
No doubt about it. Hey, you know that dinner, by the way, at my dad's golf tournament, that is a dinner presented by none other than our good pal Jeff Ruby. I always fail to mention that. As now Brian Price will come out and visit the mound.
I can't wait for that.
Well, they'll be talking about Aroldis Chapman on all the late night highlight shows all across the country. Then into tomorrow morning. His major league debut.
You know, the Reds really shocked the baseball world last winter when they signed Aroldis Chapman, because I thought, you know, the consensus among baseball, even close watchers, were that, you know, he would end up being with one of the big market teams, the Yankees, the Red Sox, you know, the Dodgers, somebody like that. And Walt Jocketty and Bob Castellini and company just shocked everybody. He's got to be extremely happy right now. Like a brand new papa.
No doubt about it.
With a 22-year-old infant that throws 105.
Nice play by Votto, and from his knees gets a runner at second base. Oh my goodness, what a play by Joey Votto. He already has 3 runs batted into the plate. And how about this with a glove? Wow.
Well, they're shouting MVP here at this ballpark. And you talk about an MVP play. I can't get over that. Wow.
Down to their final out now, the Brewers. Reds leading 8-4 with a runner at first. And it is over in Houston. The Astros have shut out the Cardinals again. And the Reds on a play by Rowland. Are you kidding me? The backhanded feed from third to second. And the Reds are now 7 games ahead of the St. Louis Cardinals in the National League Central.
First a play by Joey Votto, and then the backhanded throw by Scott Rowland. It's almost like watching a Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. The last 2 plays that you saw, Dusty Baker not only saw that kind of defense, he saw a pitcher that he ran after, throw 102 and dominate in his major league debut. And his ball club score 8 runs against one of the better pitchers in the National League in Giovanni Gallardo. And they take 2 out of 2 so far from the Milwaukee Brewers, and 7 games up on their closest competitor in the National League Central Division, the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, you almost wonder, you get the feel this is almost like another major statement game. Your number 1